It's time to check in. I'm Tony.
I'm Vivi.
Last time around, we were talking about Singapore and its delicious food. It was diverse and, most importantly, very budget-friendly. But this time around, let's talk about something that is on the exact opposite end of the spectrum, the accommodations. For this trip, we decided to stay in 2 different hotels.
That's because we couldn't afford 2 nights in one hotel. One specific hotel.
Man, why'd you have to burst the bubble like that? We could, but we just don't want to.
I feel like one night already ripped a hole in my wallet, but because it checked off a bucket list item, I was like, okay, I had to go and book somewhere else. Because the usual budget-friendly me would think I'm crazy to pay that price twice.
This hotel we're speaking of is none other than the iconic Marina Bay Sands.
We'll call it MBS from here.
For those who don't know, the MBS is the hotel with the big ship on top. It's very iconic in Singapore. And on top of the MBS has this big infinity pool that looks over Singapore. And for some reason, everyone and their girlfriend and their girl buddies have that on their bucket list, right?
Yes, guilty. That is the reason why I told Tony, hey, now that we chose Singapore, I really want to stay at least one night there. After looking at the price, I'm like, definitely just the one. The only reason why we ended up staying there was because you can only access the infinity pool if you stay there. You cannot pay your way in any other way to get up there. So for me, that was so exclusive. It was even prior to Crazy Rich Asians where I saw this hotel, and I just told myself at the time that if I ever make it to an extent where I can afford this, I will want to go and try to stay there and be up on that pool and look at that view.
They actually had quite a lot of people standing guard and making sure there's no people tailgating and trying to sneak in. The staff knew that a lot of people had this on their bucket list, and they're trying to make sure no one gets it without paying the right of way.
Oh yeah, that was definitely their business model, and let's just say it got me. I paid my way through the right way. I really did think to myself though, can I really try to sneak in? But hey, you even need a keycard access to get on the elevator that brings you up to the infinity pool. They have like a scanner where someone stands by and watches you do it and just make sure that it's a legit card. And I did see a few times where people try to get in and said, oh, I forgot my card. It's just downstairs. Oh, I don't want to go down and get it. But nope, no entry.
It was very exclusive. The view was absolutely awesome. Let's talk about the experience in your perspective, because this was on your bucket list of something you want to check off in life. I don't know if this was the first item on your bucket list that you checked off.
It was definitely the food. The food was the number one for Singapore. This was the second one. The greedy person I am wanted both.
So how did it feel checking this off your bucket list?
It felt amazing because I finally felt that, oh, I'm in a place in my life right now where even though it's just the one-time payment of that hefty bill of $600-something USD, but I felt I made it to some extent. I felt that
You're lost for words, aren't you? Oh, you're very lost for words. I'm pretty sure I know it's this weird feeling that you have. You're up there, you're so immersed in the present. You don't want to look at your phone, you don't care what's happening next on your itinerary. You just want to take a dip in the pool, look at the view, and just soak it all in, didn't you?
Yeah, we actually went up there even without our swimsuits for the first time because I just wanted to take a look at what I was dreaming of. It was also because we didn't have our room available at that time, but they gave us the guest card that could bring us up there. And I just wanted to take a look before we got on with our day. And
Teaser.
yes, exactly. It was wonderful. It just looks very different from anything I've ever seen before. Definitely iconic. And it also wasn't packed with people. The few times that we went up there, obviously you got to get our money's worth because that's why we were there. We went up there 4 times, I believe. And a few of those times were in the day and then one of them was at night. All of those times didn't feel like it was packed. I thought it was going to be everyone was almost shoulder to shoulder potentially during the peak hours of around sunset. Even though we did kind of miss that time frame, but I felt it was a very large area. The pool stretched from like the entire span of the hotel, which is like super long. So I felt there was a spot for me along the way.
To a certain degree, I also had this idea that did I make it?
And did you?
For one night, yes, I did.
At that time, I also remember when we first went up there, it started raining when we were in the pool.
2 drops of rain won't deter you from accomplishing your bucket list, honestly.
Yeah, it was very light rain, and it just came suddenly. I saw some people get out of the pool, but usually in a normal circumstance, people run out of the pool because it's like pouring, right? But then at that time, it was really comfortable, like being in the water, having the humidity of Singapore, and then having slight rain on top of you. I was like, oh, I don't need to get out of the pool. I'm already wet, right? So, I mean, it felt fine. I didn't feel like I was going to get sick. And when I saw the people leave, I'm like, oh, even better for me. More space for us.
Wait, I just had a thought. Did you even see a single kid in there?
I didn't really notice much kids. There wasn't too many families. I probably saw like 1 or 2 at most.
Yeah, it felt very exclusive to people that want to get that sensation of, I made it. And it was a very exclusive club of people just there taking photos.
Oh, yeah, there was a bunch of people asking, hey, can you help us take a photo? Or I just saw the boyfriend or the husband taking a photo for the girlfriend or wife. We were one of them, but I definitely didn't take as much photos as I expected because I just wanted to take it all in. It was a bucket list item not to show people on social media. Yes, I did post like 1 or 2 photos, but I felt for me it was more that I checked off something that I wanted in the past. And when we're on our honeymoon, I just wanted to be able to do something like that. And I was able to do it with you.
Well, I'm glad I was tagged along to enjoy this ride. I felt like it was a nice experience. But was it worth that price tag? Ooh, I'd probably need some serious consideration for that one, given it was not on my bucket list.
So do you think it was worth it, Tony?
For strictly that amenity, I don't really feel like it was totally justifiable. But, there's more amenities. It's just we were mainly there solely for the pool. So
Yeah.
it was a little different. If we don't make the max out of the hotel, probably no, unfortunately.
So you felt that dipping in the pool a few times didn't make your money's worth?
That's a very expensive dip.
Hey, with a grand view of Singapore. Remember us looking over the edge?
Yeah, that was a little scary, but it was very breathtaking for sure.
Well, I felt safe even though you said it was scary. I tried looking down to see like how far I can see. Do I see the ground or the street? You don't. So I didn't feel like I was going to fall off the ledge or anything like that. It just felt very wonderful to be able to sit in the pool, be cooled off because obviously Singapore's weather is quite hot and humid, and just be able to relax and just see that magnificent view.
But there were shortcomings with the hotel, right?
Checking in was kind of hectic.
This hotel is actually huge. There's a lot of guests trying to check in and check out constantly. When we were there at 3 o'clock at check-in time, the line was long.
It was crazy. I'm glad we went there a little earlier to drop off our luggage and do the pre-check-in. There's a lot of people working too, and it just took so long that I was wondering, don't you have all my information? I just gave you my passport and I already typed in all my information when I booked it. How come it's taking that long?
At the time we were supposed to check in, the room wasn't ready and they had to find us another room. And that took a little bit of time for them to sort out, which was a big bummer given they are such a well-known establishment. We thought that they would be very on point.
So at the time, I actually got a slight discount because they're renovating one of the towers. So they had some construction noise and I had booked that tower because it's cheaper. We get kind of the same experience. We get to go on top of the infinity pool, but for a cheaper price tag. Of course, I'm going to do that. But I did do my research and see when the times would be and also if we would hear it. It's mainly during the daytime. There was nothing at night. So I just felt like, okay, we're going to mainly be outside having fun and enjoying Singapore. We won't really be sleeping in too long. So that didn't bother me too much. And then because maybe I noted that it was our honeymoon, the staff actually gave us a room where it was lower on the tower. And I didn't really hear the construction noise. So I felt I got to pay the cheaper price and got the regular experience.
With that discount, we could swallow this tough pill a little bit easier.
Yeah, to me, I felt that it was worth it, but I would not go back again. Just seeing that pool and being in it a few times was enough for me. I don't think I would pay again to go up there. I feel like
It's not like you're going to uncheck that item off your bucket list and recheck it.
I think it was just a one-time experience and that was it for me. I would not go back because I actually feel that in Singapore, the view is actually nicer with MBS in the background.
That is very true. Because for the second stay,
Which actually was our first stay,
or the other stay that we're going to mention about, is the Fairmont Hotel.
which we'll call the F Hotel.
So the F Hotel is actually very famous in our local city, San Francisco. And that's how I ever heard about it. But in Singapore, I was like, wow, we're going to stay in the F Hotel. I was actually shocked and I was actually in anticipation more than going to MBS because this hotel is something I'm like, whoa, it's probably going to be nice. It's probably going to be very luxurious and beautiful. I had higher hopes for this specific hotel than the MBS.
The F Hotel is a chain. They have it in like many different cities, and it's still very iconic in every one of them. The reason why I chose this one was, like I mentioned in our previous episode, it is our honeymoon. I wanted a different experience. Yes, I had to fork out more money for stays that I usually do not do because, we don't even stay there very much. But I think for this trip in Singapore, because of the weather, it actually was nice that we stayed at a nicer hotel because we did go back to our rooms more often just to cool off, clean up ourselves because it was super hot. We were sweaty all day. So it was just kind of nice to get back into AC environment, freshen up, and then go back out again. So I felt that it was worth it. The F Hotel was one of the ones where it had a really beautiful view of the MBS and the whole city skyline. So I had chosen a room that had that view, and also you could see the Merlion as well in the view. I thought that was more the unforgettable scenery.
Yeah, we got the skyline, we got the bay and the MBS all in one picturesque shot. And we're sitting comfortably in the lounge chair or bed, which was oriented in a way where if you sit up in the bed, you're looking out of the window into the view. For once, it was not so conventionally designed room.
It was a little bit more expensive room than your typical, but once in a lifetime. But what I did appreciate about the F Hotel, I'm not trying to advertise it, okay? But they're very thoughtful. We had arrived in Singapore early in the morning. Of course, we're not going to be dragging our luggage around. That's why we chose hotel stays instead of other type of stays, is so that we could drop off our luggage with the staff there. We had went up to their counter around like 6 something a.m. and told them, hey, we just wanted to drop off our bags. And then they told us, oh, yes, we could definitely keep them. But we also have this lounge for people that come in early and we don't have their room available yet. You can use this lounge. And I wasn't really thinking much of it. They just told us how to get there, and we dragged our luggage over there because we wanted to get changed first. And when I opened the door to the lounge, I was wowed because it was a large lounge. They had a shower in it.
It was very relaxing. No one was in there. We had the lounge all to ourselves. We just completely commandeered the bathroom.
I just got off a 16+ hour flight. I don't think I was smelling the best either, and I didn't look the best. So being able to just clean up myself there before we started our day, I think that was one of the best amenities of this hotel.
I would agree, but that wasn't my favorite thing about this hotel.
What was your favorite thing?
It's gonna sound weird. It's the shower.
What about the shower? You're talking about the one in our room or
yes,
the lounge?
The one in the room. The lounge one was nice, but the one in the room, you turn on the water, it felt like you're standing under a huge waterfall. The water just kept gushing. The pressure was so strong that it was relaxing the pressure off my shoulders and my back. I would just hunch over and, my lower back needs a little bit of a massage. Okay, angle myself this way. This is so relaxing. The water is so warm. Oh, wait, the whole bathroom is flooding. It literally is flooding. Let me turn off the water for a bit so I could drain. And then turn it back on so I could reflood the bathroom.
I kind of understand what you're talking about because in California, we have water pressure control. You can't even buy shower heads that produce more water. It's because of the drought environment and just saving water. I get it. But when we go to hotels and we're like, oh my goodness, that shower was high pressure, it does impress you. So I understand it, but I kind of forgot about it already.
That was a huge gush of water moment. It felt so relaxing, something that I've forgotten since we enforced these shower heads. But that felt very comfortable and luxurious for me.
And you didn't have to pay the water bill.
Yeah, I was in there for a long time.
Yeah, that felt better, right? Because you didn't have to pay for it.
Yeah, that's even more gratifying. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I think I was in there for a little bit longer too. Not only we were tired, but it just felt different. For me, I'm not trying to save water for Singapore. I'm sorry. That was a great experience. It's definitely a great aspect of the hotel. But enough about hotels. We're not trying to sell people to go and stay in these hotels. It's just that we decided to opt for these two options, and we had great experiences for both. We did prefer the F Hotel over the MBS. Mainly because I didn't really feel the room that we had in MBS was better than F Hotel. At least the view wasn't better, in my opinion. It was the view of the gardens by the bay. I really wanted to go there. I thought the lights would be on all night, so when I'm on the balcony looking out, I would be able to see the gardens of the bay and enjoy the view. Nope, it was pitch black.
Oh, my sweet summer child. They wouldn't keep lights on the whole night because it would affect the hotel guests' experience if they're staying at the hotel. They might be like, oh, why is this light on the whole night? It's disturbing my sleep.
Really? City lights are on all the time. It's for the city view.
Oh, it's blinding sometimes. You don't want that experience.
It wasn't that close. I was actually quite surprised when I got back to the hotel and looked out the window late at night. I was like, why is it pitch black? I can't see anything. What view is this?
It wasn't the most enjoyable view. But let's get back to the Garden by the Bay.
One of the must-visit places when you are in Singapore.
It's really regrettable that we went and we had a slight hiccup during our experience there at the Garden by the Bay.
Yeah, I remember walking by the super tree forest and just enjoying it, trying to get the super tree in my photo, like the entire tree. I was doing that when I suddenly received an email from our airline that we were using to fly to Bali, which was our next stop on our honeymoon. And the email said, your flight is delayed, and it was delayed hours. And our original arrival time to Bali was like 8 p.m. So when they say they're delayed for at least 3 hours, I was like, we're arriving before midnight. That's going to be an issue because I had a driver lined up to come pick us up. And I also got the villa to prepare a meal for us when we arrived there around like 9 p.m. But if we're not arriving until 11, oh my goodness, everything's going to be messed up. So I was on my phone during the entire Gardens by the Bay experience, trying to book another flight. Also wanting to request a refund for our original flight, and that was what I was busy doing on my phone, not enjoying the views of the beautiful garden.
So yeah, that was unfortunate regret. But we must applaud the fact that you just diligently did what you could to remedy the situation in the mix of this very beautiful, luscious garden. But when we're inside the flower dome, it was very beautiful. They had a very well thought out Amsterdam tulip farm that was loaded with people.
Yeah, that was the theme of the flower dome at the time. And when I saw it, I wasn't like super excited because we were in Amsterdam before and we had seen like the tulip fields and the tulip festival. So I was like, oh, we'll go because it's there. But I wasn't like crazily wanting to take pictures. But everyone else was. They were pretty much gathering around the tulips. Oh my goodness. There was not an angle at all where you didn't get like a few people in your background.
Yeah, I always like to call it the biggest family gathering where everyone in your photo is like a relative just photobombing you. And for that one, that was the hugest family gathering. You're always going to have a rando in the back or next to you trying to also take a picture. You damn sure know they're smiling for their shot as well, so at least they don't look like a party pooper.
We got numerous requests from people to help take their photo. And, of course, we're going to go and be like, hey, can you take our photo too? But it wasn't that amazing of a shot. And given how the tulips actually survive better in colder weather, I was quite surprised because inside the flower dome, even though they tried to control the temperature and everything, it still felt hot. So I just felt that the tulips wouldn't last that long, in my opinion. They were well opened.
Well, you got to give the staff props for making it happen. I don't think the tulip field exhibit was going to last much longer. I felt like it was beautiful, but we didn't get a chance to fully immerse ourselves.
I didn't even know that you had to pay for a separate ticket to visit the flower dome.
But we also got to see their night exhibit, which was free.
Outside of the regular light and music show, their special exhibit last year of the Northern Lights was just starting. So I was very excited about that because I've never seen the Northern Lights in real life before. Even though this isn't the real thing, I was looking forward to it. And I wanted to see how they were going to do the effects. Would it look real? Even though I wouldn't know any better.
Like the tulip fields, that too was packed.
I'm glad we got there a little earlier though, and we found a ledge to sit on. I think standing when we had already walked the whole day was going to be crazy. I was already pretty tired, and given the heat, I was exhausted already.
A lot of people's opt to sit on the floor. Might be not that comfortable for our butt, but it was an option we didn't need to take. To our surprise, the Northern Light exhibit was actually nicely done. Its recreation felt like it was looking at the Northern Lights.
Really?
A bit, just a bit.
I was actually kind of confused initially when they were first coming out because it's actually smoke and then they light it up.
Let's be clear, it's not smoke and they light up a fire, but they turn on some lights.
Oh yeah, that's what I meant. But you know how like smoke needs to build up? In the beginning, I wasn't really sure what was happening. But you see the build up little by little, and I'm just kind of sitting there wondering when I'll actually see the grand view of the Northern Lights. I think we sat there for like 15 minutes and it was still like really mediocre at that time. And I was like, I think I'm kind of done. But then we started walking past like this really big crowd and I understood finally like why there was so many people over there is because in that patch, the Northern Lights exhibit was much better. There was a lot more smoke with a lot more blue and green lights. It really did look like it. And remember I said we stayed in the MBS and had the view of the Gardens by the Bay? I also kind of got to see from afar that patch of smoke with lights. It did seem like the exhibit was pretty successful.
So that's the summary of what we did and experienced in Singapore. But on every trip, there's always something that just goes wrong.
We shared the part about how our flight to Bali was delayed, and I was able to successfully book a new flight. It was a little bit more expensive, but after I booked it, a couple hours later, we get another notification saying, oh, the original flight is no longer delayed. Didn't have an explanation or anything. I was totally confused. But we had already booked the flight and requested the refund, so it was what it was. Funny enough, our second flight was also delayed due to mechanical issues with the plane. I was definitely not impressed at that point. I was thinking
It was fate that we're going to be late to Bali.
and it was gonna be late at night, and I was trying to text the people from the villa to let them know and try to coordinate that. At that point, it was kind of stressful because of this, but I was trying to figure it out as we went, still trying to enjoy our trip. At one point, I asked Tony, do you want to try getting on to our original flight? It's like on the other end of the airport. Because we obviously didn't know that the flight had mechanical issues until after the flight time had passed.
Another thing that we were not able to do in Singapore was enjoy the river cruise. It was on our list of items to do, along with the night safari that we wanted to go to.
I know, I was bummed that we missed both of those. But I didn't want to barf on that cruise because I was feeling kind of nauseous from the exhaustion from being up all day and then sweating like crazy. I think that just took a lot out of me and the jet lag too. I didn't want to go on the cruise and end up feeling super bad afterwards.
Well, I too was also not in the best state. Sometime in the middle of day one of my feet started hurting and I started limping around. It kind of threw a wrench in a lot of our plans because we like to walk and explore the city.
So I know you were kind of in pain, Tony, but in a way, it might have been a blessing in disguise if you look at it this way. We were riding Grab or Uber more, so we were away from the heat as well. Even though we didn't reach our steps goal because of it, but at least we got to be in a more relaxing state. We were trying to explore many parts of the city and eat as much as we could, but I also feel that if we were walking in the heat and just sweating like the entire day, we probably wouldn't have made it until the nighttime. We probably would have had to go back to our hotel and sleep, which wasn't what we wanted to do.
So you're just using every excuse we can to ride in an AC cabin.
Yeah. How'd you guess? It wasn't very expensive. It was quicker to get to different places. We're able to cool off. And being in the car means that there's no blazing sun on top of you.
Well, if we're on the bus or on metro, we won't see the sun either. It's just we would have to be sharing some space with some locals and they're going to generate a lot of heat and must as well.
Yeah, I think because of the weather and the way I felt in that hot weather, I just didn't really want to think about how to get to places. So the easy way out was to pay someone to go and drive us. And that's the way we went. But let me ask you this, Tony. Despite the downsides of this trip, which made it not as smooth, would you go to Singapore again?
Without a doubt, yes. I think Singapore is a great place to lay over if you're going to transfer. It's a great place to stop at for 2 days to have a good meal and just check out a lot of vibrant culture. If we ever need to transfer somewhere in Asia, I probably would choose Singapore again, even though we've been there once already.
I would go again as well. But I probably would not go direct flight 16 plus hours. I feel like there's other airports that can act as a hub city that's much closer that could get us to our second destination, wherever that is. But I do feel that we have other things that we can explore in Singapore that we missed out on because we didn't have the energy to go and do a full 15-hour day. There's definitely things that we can go back for. And even though it's been a year since our honeymoon, I'm still salivating when it comes to thinking about their food and when I look back at the photos that we took. So our stomachs will eventually call us back to Singapore. That was our first stop of our honeymoon. Our next stop was Bali, which we'll share in our next episode. For now, it's time to check out. I'm Vivi.
And I'm Tony. Catch you all next time. Bye.